I'm listening to a podcast. There are these episodic audio recordings.
I'm familiar with the concept of a podcast. Everyone is.
We have a lot of interesting things to say, so, you know.
Oh, shit. Well, I feel like the conversation we've been having in the last 5 minutes is a lot more interesting than the shit they're talking about on the radio. Are you kidding me? Just moronic commentary and stupid sound effects, and it's just dumb. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, we have voices. We talk about the issues, you know? I feel like we could do a podcast, and it would be a million times better than whatever that drivel was we were listening to.
Without a doubt.
This is the greatest podcast ever.
The Bill Burr endorsement. The Bill Burr endorsement is starting to go to my head. I'm not going to lie to you.
What, you getting a big ego?
It's starting to go to my head a little bit.
I'm starting to think we are the best podcast ever.
Well, no, I'm not that delusional. I'm not that delusional. But speaking of delusional, well, it is the Jeff Dubay Show with Jason Linse. Football season is over, unless you count the XFL, which came back yesterday, and so Saturday.
How come I didn't know about this until I was?
Because nobody cares.
Oh, yeah,
nobody cares, and nobody's going to care. I thought the XFL was a porno football league, so I was super disappointed when it turned it out. It wasn't even close to what I thought it would be. We didn't shut the door. Could you shut the glass door? This is on-the-fly production, folks. Production quality second to none. Yeah, just a sliding glass door there. Because you never know. I mean, we're
in Butler Cabin.
Yeah, we're in Butler Cabin, and sometimes Jason swears, even though I ask him not to. So, you know, sometimes that might offend somebody.
I can't help it.
In the next room.
I don't understand why people get
so the XFL back. It's
Didn't they try this in 2000, 2001 or something?
The Jeff Dubay Show?
The XFL.
Yeah. It's, yeah. No, they said it was 19 years ago, so yeah, 2001. And the only thing that anybody ever seems to really remember from that is that there was a player who wore on his back the name He Hates Me, which spawned the Twitter account Dubay Hates Me, which I'm sure you've seen.
Jeff Dubay Hates Me.
Yeah, whatever it is. I've never really understood.
No, Jeff Dubay.
I hate no one.
Jeff Dubay hates you. That guy's weird, by the way.
I hate no one. I'm just nothing but love.
Yeah, that's
nothing but love all the time.
That guy's weird.
Anyway, so yeah, the XFL. Believe it or not, that's not our big topic for the day. We don't really have a big topic. Tom Cook, what's up, Tom Cook? That's drummer guy, by the way.
Drummer guy?
Yeah, for the uneducated. That is drummer guy, and one of my favorites. We don't really have a big topic of the day. We're just kind of going to ramble a little bit today. The XFL, not something that I care about, not something that I expect to be front and center in this program. We'll talk a little bit about
let me ask you
the wheeling and dealings of the week.
Well, let me ask you about the XFL. Does it have legs? Is this going to be a thing? Or?
No.
All right.
No. I'd be stunned.
8 teams.
Is that what it is?
8?
I mean, I guess so. There were 4 games, and they were all on national television. I believe they were all on national television.
8 games.
Really bad uniforms, and for the most part, they seem to be playing in soccer stadiums, which is what the Chargers have done for 2 years in a row. So I mean, it's not that's not the end all. But yeah, it's except for the Dallas team was playing in the Texas Rangers' old baseball stadium. When I say old, I mean the one that they closed down last year. So anyway, it was a bunch of weird colored uniforms. So like, you know, the trend is, thanks to the Seattle Seahawks, you know, this fluorescent lime green. You know, the Vikings, the Timberwolves went to it, and now like it looks like at least 2 XFL teams have gone to it. It's not my favorite.
Are there any names we'd recognize?
Absolutely.
XFL.
Oh, absolutely. Especially the quarterback positions. You know, Cardell Jones is playing. He was, the Buckeyes quarterback when they won the national championship a few years ago.
Manziel.
Andy Murray, who was a Georgia quarterback. There's a few more. I've done. This is gonna be shocking. I've done literally zero research into the XFL. Could not care less about it. Once I found out it was not a Porto football league, my interest dropped. Really dramatically.
That'd be the triple XFL.
The triple XFL. That would be awesome. That could be a good bit, like on a Chappelle show or something. Just like a couple guys in the booth calling a triple XFL football game. But anyway, let's clean it up. Let's clean it up a little bit. Let's reel it in. There's a lot of wheelings and dealings this week. The Twins get rid of Bruce Gratterall. They bring in Kenta Maeda. The thing finally gets done last night without the Red Sox. And by the way, the Red Sox should be really mortified about the last week they trade away the 2018 American League MVP Mookie Betts. He's one of the best players in baseball. I mean, but he's on. If he's not the second or third best, he's in the top 5 of best players in all baseball. I mean, Red Sox fans, and here's what I think happened on this, and this is with no inside knowledge. I think the backlash of this trade, Red Sox fans were so mad that they traded away Mookie Betts and David Price for, a prospect or 2, and they also gave away a ton of cash to pay those salaries. It was just a salary dump to get under the luxury tax. That's all it was. It was nothing to improve the team. I mean, Red Sox fans were so outraged by this. I mean, they're comparing it to selling Babe Ruth to the Yankees 100 years ago. I honestly believe that that's why Red Sox management started to pump the brakes and say, "Oh, wait a second, this Bruce Dog Gratterall, he's a reliever, not a starter. He had elbow surgery and he had a shoulder problem at one point, an impingement. I've never had an impingement, but it sounds like it'd be painful. So the Red Sox, but these things were all known. These things were all known before the trade ever happened. You know what? I mean, that Gratterall was a reliever for the Twins last year. They had already said that they didn't want to push his innings to the point where he could be a starter this year, so he's going to be a reliever again. The Tommy John surgery was not only known. That should never bother anybody. Tommy John surgery there are people, believe it or not, like up and coming pitchers, like just after I would say late teens, early 20s. Some people have had it electively.
Yeah.
Because
when they didn't need it.
Yeah, because once you get it done,
you're stronger. You're better, and you're less likely to be hurt again. So somebody who's had Tommy John is not damaged goods. It's far from it. Somebody who hasn't had it is somebody who's almost destined to have it. So I mean, using his elbow or Tommy John surgery as any kind of a negative element to this trade or element to Gratterall or his potential is ridiculous. Yeah. The bottom line is the Boston Red Sox were reeling from fan backlash from a trade that nobody liked, that people were disgusted by, that their fan base was disgusted by, and they tried to get something extra out of it to try to save a little face. I mean, just what a bunch of douchebags. Yeah, and they're a vocal, annoying fan base too, so I could see how they could make some noise.
Yeah, well, I guess. But I mean, what an unprofessional way to run an organization or to handle a potential trade. Just an absolute embarrassment. Yeah. And then the Twins and the Dodgers are able to just say, all right, well, screw you, Boston. We've had enough of your BS. We're just going to go ahead and do this with our. And I mean, look at the Dodgers now. They've acquired Mookie Betts, David Price, and they've added a triple-digit fastball flamethrower to their bullpen. I mean,
and they were already good.
Yeah, way to go, Dodgers. I mean, they're one of the. If they're not the best team in baseball, they're one of the top 2 or 3, and just more power to them. The Red Sox come out of this just looking like absolute chumps.
Does anybody care about that team in LA though? You know how LA doesn't really care about their football teams, or they care about the Lakers.
Yeah, and they draw, but the joke. Well, it's not a joke. It's just the Chavez Ravine is the Dodger Stadium, and it's, as the name would indicate, built into a canyon, into a ravine, and there's one little road that goes in and out of it. Like everybody can remember the classic Kirk Gibson home run in 1988. Well, yeah, what's one of the images you remember from that? As you watch the ball fly over the right field stands, you see an endless row of taillights leaving the stadium. So at Dodger Stadium, if you go there, you have to get there extraordinarily early and or leave extraordinarily early. So like they're known for leaving by like the 6th or 7th inning because you can't get in or out of that thing. It's just a cluster.
Good to know. I'm never going there then.
But it's supposed to be a gorgeous stadium.
Well,
I mean, it's like carved into the
Or
mountain.
theoretically, you could stay late, but you're gonna have to. If you're a drinker like me, you're gonna get bored.
Very few are a drinker like you. I mean, it's just
a good point.
Yeah, the list is dwindling. Any that have been a drinker like you, or they're slowly falling by the wayside.
That's a little bit of an exaggeration. Okay.
So anyway, the Twins and the Dodgers step up and get the deal done. This is a deal that I was a little leery about at first, just because I was really excited about having a power arm. If you're a Twins fan, the one thing that really sounded exciting and kind of sexy was to have somebody who could come out of the bullpen throwing 101 miles an hour. And it was something that I was pretty excited about having. Gratterall's going to have a big career. I'm completely confident. On Facebook, I did a post that this trade is something that they could regret someday, and they might someday, because Gratterall, I'm convinced, is going to have that kind of a career. But a lot of people on Facebook are like, oh, he doesn't have that second pitch, but he does. He has a good breaking ball. Yeah, he didn't. People were like complaining about his lack of command that he showed when he's here. He's a kid. He's a kid who was a September call-up from Double-A. All right, I mean, it was like, let's just get a peek at this kid right now. Why not? We're going to win the division. We had the roster flexibility with the rosters expanding. There's no reason not to. I mean, to think that what you saw last year is who Bruce Dog Gratterall is going to be is really short-sighted. I mean, you can't teach somebody to throw the ball 100 miles an hour. All right, but you can teach a guy a changeup, and you can teach a guy some mechanics that'll zero in on the command. Bruce Dog Gratterall is going to be a great major league pitcher. So there will be a time when you might regret this, but
I've come to believe this is a good trade at a good time for the Twins. You got a pitcher that's going to fit right into the middle of your rotation. Some baseball minds, who have watched this guy pitch, Kenta Maeda. I have not watched him pitch, but some great baseball minds who have say he's better than the numbers. And I hope he is, because the numbers are pretty pedestrian. He's been in the major leagues for 4 years. Basically, he wins 12 games a year. I mean, he's got 49 major league wins. Yeah. He's always in the 10 to 12 win range. His career ERA is 3.87. Last year it was 4.04. I mean, he has the appearance of just a solid middle rotation guy. He throws low 90s. Apparently, he's got a fantastic changeup, gets a lot of strikeouts. The Twins did not get what they wanted in free agency this offseason. We know that. They struck out. I don't want to say they struck out on these pitchers, but people get overly critical. When a team doesn't get exactly who they want in free agency, people think, oh, they screwed up. They did something wrong. But that's not necessarily the case. A player wants to go where a player wants to go.
Right.
And you can't. This is not a draft where you pick somebody and he's got to come to you. Right. I mean, if a guy wants to go somewhere else,
and the money's similar, or
very few Major League Baseball players are like from this part of the country. A lot of them want to play in California, Florida, and the
warmer
South.
climates.
Well, it's also because it's closer to home. Torrey Hunter always wanted. He always said he wanted to finish his career with the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, hard sell for me, because I know April and September are not. That's cold up here. You remember last year?
Hang on, got my new endorsement deal.
Oh, cold last week.
Yeah, well, we jumped to Pepsi.
Playing outdoors at Target Field would be I would factor that in if I were a baseball player.
Well, you know what? Pitchers and hitters, they care more about, not is it a nice park, but is it a pitcher friendly park? Is it a hitter friendly park?
Sure.
And Donaldson's going to hit. I bet he'll hit 35.
What is Target Field considered?
More hitter friendly.
Is it?
More hitter friendly, but it's got some balance. But it's probably considered to be a little more hitter friendly. But anyway, I want to get back to my original point that while I initially did not like the trade, just because, again, I was really excited about having a big arm in the bullpen, and I love the upside of Gratterall. I since have come to endorse the deal, and was glad to see that it got done, because it is a different mentality from this organization. It's a win now mentality from this organization to trade away a prospect. There's no doubt that Gratterall's got a higher ceiling than Maeda. But it doesn't mean he's going to achieve it. I think he will, but it doesn't mean he will for sure. There's no guarantees. But they went and I don't say mortgage the future. That's a little extreme. But they traded away great potential for the ability to win now.
Right. And
that's typically the opposite approach that you see from the Twins.
Sure.
Yeah, we're always a wait till next year's squad.
So that's good.
And just wait till next year. By the way, this time we mean it. The Twins have become one of the favorites. They maybe already were, but they're certainly one of the favorites in Major League Baseball. I've got to believe right now. There's certainly, if you're going to look at the American League right now, you got to like the Yankees. I would assume, even though they're going to be in the wake of this sign stealing scandal, that the Astros will still be up there. But the Twins are clearly the pick to win the Central, and they've got to be the second or third choice in the American League. They've got to be top. I don't know, top 7 or 8 in overall odds to win the World Series in Major League Baseball. I know that people didn't get excited about Homer Bailey or Rich Hill, and I'm not saying they should have. But at the end, when this whole thing comes together, when these guys start coming back, you're going to have a really good rotation. You're going to have 2 All-Stars at the top, which not most teams don't have. 2 pretty hard throwing right-handers at the top, and it sounds like Odorizzi has done a lot of work to build up his stamina. I mean, he is definitely a 5 and fly guy, which is it's a really good quality 5. He goes 5 or 6 innings almost every start and gives up 2-3 runs or fewer almost every start. I mean, incredibly consistent. But it's a little troublesome that he just always runs out of gas there. But I was reading some articles about how he's built up the legs and built up some stamina in this offseason. Hopefully that's true. But then you get into the middle of the rotation. Maeda is a very good middle of the rotation guy. Homer Bailey is a good lower rotation guy. Rich Hill, by the way, people are gonna love Rich Hill.
Names their kid Homer nowadays.
Yeah, well, seriously, yeah.
I like the name. It's a great baseball name.
Well, especially in the wake of The Simpsons. I mean, you want your kid to be an underachieving idiot, and I love The Simpsons. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. But and Homer Simpson's hilarious. But did you see the new Zombieland, the Double Tap? It was the name they gave to
to the slowest, dumbest, most inept zombies. They would call them homers. But anyway, so the Rich Hill is somebody that is really an underrated acquisition. I know he's hurt. He's going to be hurt until the All-Star break, so that kind of sucks. But I bet you this. I'll tell you right now, in the second half of the season, I bet you he wins 8 games and has an ERA under 3.
Bold.
I mean,
bold prediction.
He's that.
What's his injury?
I believe it's an elbow. I mean, he's an old veteran, crafty left-hander, and he's gonna go right into the rotation when he's physically able, and it's gonna be like a really good mid-season acquisition, even though it was actually technically an off-season acquisition.
Yeah.
So that's all good. Now from a team that I'm passionate about. I love the Twins, love baseball, one of my favorite sports. To something that I just never. I have such a hard time caring about the Timberwolves. I have such a hard time caring about the NBA in general. But people who know a lot more about this than me, which is about 98% of the population, really loving this trade. Andrew Wiggins
sounds like it.
And
Wiggins gone.
Part of it is that this fan base just can't stand Wiggins. I mean, just cannot stand Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
It was kind of attractive just from a Rube standpoint to have the fact that we had back-to-back number 1 overall picks on the same roster.
Yeah.
With Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
And you'd get glimpses of Wiggins' greatness, but boy, the bloom is off this rose, man. I mean, can you remember just a few years ago when he was in high school? I mean, they were saying next LeBron James.
Who?
I mean, Wiggins. Yeah. I mean, just he didn't make his college choice. He went to Kansas for 1 year.
Yeah, he was
number one overall pick right away. He just was supposed to be the real deal. He's been traded twice. Already. Now, granted, the first trade was so the Cleveland Cavaliers could fit LeBron into their cap. They're reacquiring LeBron James, so they brought in Kevin Love and got rid of Andrew Wiggins.
That's how we got Wiggins. Love.
Yeah,
Love.
And Love's been kind of a pain in the ass.
Still in the league?
Yeah, but he's a real pain in the ass. I mean, I use him as an example of today's pain in the ass athlete. It's there's a couple different kinds of athletes that really can be a pain in the ass. You can get to go out and make it rain. Ray Lewis before he became a fake Christian. That kind of or Pac-Man Jones. That kind of that's Percy Harvin. That's group number 1. Group number 2 is this too smart for the room. Championing issues. I'm a real thinking man's athlete. I'm gonna Kevin Love, Chris Cluey. I'd almost rather have make it rain guys.
Self-righteous.
I'd rather have guys who were pulled over with a blunt in their ashtray than a guy who's just always on the platform for big political issues or
straight cash money.
Yeah, or just always sticking up for his rights. So Kevin Love's always got his back. Kevin Love's always sticking up for himself and this team sucks. I'm gonna mail it in for a couple of days because I'm gonna make a statement. Yeah. It's like, all right, whatever. Right. It's just so. Yeah, Kevin Love has become kind of a persona non grata in the NBA. He's still with Cleveland. But anyway,
Wiggins out.
Who's
in? What's the name of the
D'Angelo Russell?
Yeah,
he was a great player.
And I didn't know how young he was.
Yeah.
So what's his backstory? Did he play college?
Played for the Buckeyes. And just super quick point guard.
Okay.
I mean, ultra quick. A little lefty.
So we finally have a really good point guard.
He can shoot the ball. Yeah. And the Russell Towns combination, I expect it to be pretty good.
I'm going March 1st to a Timberwolves game.
Yeah,
because my nephews are going, and she asked me, and I'm like, I go, how much is a Timberwolves ticket? What am I going to spend to not really be interested?
Right.
Because you've been that center. You've been there recently, right?
I went last month to a game.
If you're sitting up high, which I assume we are, that ain't a very good seat. So.
Right. I mean, I'll tell you what. I have had the opportunity back in my glory days.
I've sat on the floor.
Yeah, I've been in the second row, and it's pretty cool.
I might have been first or second.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was right at midcourt, second deck about a month ago for the Raptors game. Just another pedestrian loss. But I'll tell you what. Here's where my interest in the Wolves is. I want Ryan Saunders to succeed, and I mean it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
It's a tricky situation. I mean, how much of this is his fault? I mean, they recently wrapped up a stretch where they went 5-26. They won the other day. But I mean, you look at the roster and you see a guy like Wiggins who didn't seem to really care.
Karl Anthony Towns doesn't play any defense, and then he's like, "Oh, why doesn't anybody respect me?" I mean, there are issues that it's hard to put on the head coach, but at the same time, sports is. I say this all the time. I've been saying it since I was on The Fan 20 years ago. Sports is the ultimate results-oriented business. Good coaches get let go because their current situation just isn't working out. Right. I mean, it's win or go, it's win or leave, and I'm not saying that I want to be that cold-hearted with Ryan Saunders. We all obviously remember and love Flip, and Ryan's a great kid and the kind of guy that you absolutely root for to succeed. But I'm just kind of wondering now that this roster has been reshuffled, and I mean, there's really literally only 3 guys. I think 3 guys left on the whole team that were on the team before this trade.
There's that many?
Before these trades. It's whatever. I mean, it was like a complete roster overhaul. So the question is what has to happen between now and the end of the season for them to move forward with Ryan Saunders as your head coach.
You want to keep losing this year, right?
Well, I mean, obviously you want as high a pick in the lottery as you can get, but again, what do you have to see out of your new configuration? To have any confidence in the current coaching staff.
Would Oturo fit on this team next year?
Who?
Oturo.
Oh, Oturo.
Sorry.
Oh, well, you know what? They're talking about Oturo as a lottery pick. Whether that's this year or next year, that he's going to be a lottery pick. And he's
this year.
I like Oturu's game, man. He gets the ball in the wing, and he's not afraid to put it on the floor and get down low with it. You don't have to necessarily post him up; he can do it himself. But in the NBA, it's a little different. Yeah. I would like to see another year out of college. In college.
So would I. Let's talk about the Gophers, if you don't mind. Gophers.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
They lost to Penn State as expected. What was that point differential? Did they
lost 83-77, and at one point they cut the lead to either 2 or 3. It was like 71-68 or 71-69.
So with the new rules, this isn't a bad loss, or
no? That's a quad 1 game. Penn State's a ranked team. That would have been a huge win. Had they won that game, I bet they would have gone back
but losing by 5
6.
Is that 6? Is that better than beating a really shitty team by 30?
I don't know.
As how it works.
I don't know.
I get confused on that.
I do too.
But they're right around 500, and they've got I don't know how many games left.
Yeah, they still can play their way in. I mean, they've got enough quad 1 opportunities.
They're gonna have to get in with 16, 17.
I don't know what it takes for a team to be considered a quad 1 opponent, because I read that the win over Wisconsin was a quad 1 win, and Wisconsin's not even a ranked team. Yeah,
but they were almost ranked.
Almost, but it doesn't take much for a game to be considered quad 1, I guess. Man, by the way, that Badger team, I don't know how. Now, granted, they're not the team they were earlier in the year. They've had a defection. They've had a coach let go for racial slurs. I mean, it's kind of a mess. But they just smoked Ohio State. Again, we've had this conversation. We don't know how good Ohio State is.
Right.
But I was at the Gopher Badger game on Wednesday night and just thoroughly unimpressed with Wisconsin. I could kind of see that one coming. I expected that game to be the way it was, just because Wisconsin was. They're still reeling from losing a player, and then they had this incredibly emotional win at home against Michigan State. Where they just overachieved, and they were shorthanded. Davison didn't play against Michigan State. This kid who transferred was gone. Nobody gave him a chance, and they beat Michigan State in front of the home crowd. Just this big emotional game. And I saw a really big letdown game coming against the Gophers, and they were pretty bad against the Gophers. And Minnesota just rolled. I mean, heck, we got up 20. And
get the week off. We don't even play till Sunday.
Really?
Iowa at home.
That's a big one. Luka Garza.
Get some rest time. That's not bad.
Luka Garza's in all kinds of conversations for the Wooden and the Naismith.
That'd be a huge win.
It's a ranked team, but it's a team that absolutely spanked us in Iowa City back right at the start of the Big Ten season. But nonetheless,
by 20.
It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity, and the Gophers they're a pretty simple team to figure out. Oturu is the constant. Oturu is going to be good for his 20, 25 or whatever, 17 to 25 a game. He had 32 at Penn State, for God's sake, and he's good for the blocks. He's good for the rebounds. He's the constant. If you can get some perimeter play to go with him, Carr threw in 20 at Penn State. Willis threw in 21 against Wisconsin. If you can get it would really be nice to get some consistent run out of Gabe Kalsher. I mean, at some point, shake off the shooting slump. It's
consistency in him.
It's been season long.
Yeah, it has.
He's got to find that shot. If the Gophers could get the outside game going with the inside game, they're a very good team.
Yeah,
they really are. As a matter of fact, if they're playing well from the perimeter, they might be more dangerous than they were a year ago. It's Turu is that much, and you do have 2 or 3 guys on the court at any time who should be decent 3-point shooters. With Marcus Carr, Peyton Willis, I think Trey Williams can shoot it pretty good, and Gabe Kalsher can shoot it pretty good. I don't need to see Demir ever shoot another 3 in my life.
How's Northwestern this year? Are they bad?
They're garbage. Northwestern's absolute
So
garbage.
we should win at Northwestern?
We have to win at Northwestern.
Yeah.
And then we're home for Maryland, I believe.
Yeah.
And that would be a huge one.
The 2 ranked teams that we have, Iowa and Maryland, are at home.
Yeah, and Indiana's been struggling. And I want to talk about Indiana here. We only have a couple minutes left. Here, Indiana's running the bubble. They're right there with Minnesota on the bubble. But did you see the Bobby Knight homecoming on Saturday? It was weird. I mean, you never know. Even the announcers said that they didn't know for sure until Bobby Knight stepped on the court that he was actually going to do it. It was, they were having some sort of halftime thing at Indiana where they had like a whole bunch of old players back, Isaiah Thomas and Quinn Buckner and all these, Randy Whitman, all these great classic old Indiana Hoosiers that have won national championships and such. And they're honoring them, at halftime on the court. And obviously, Bobby Knight had a spectacular yet controversial career at Indiana, and he left on really bad terms and said when he got fired, he said he would never, ever set foot back in Bloomington. He would never go back for anything ever. Yeah. And Bobby Knight, as great a coach as he is, he's absolutely an asshole. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he's dick. I mean, the players who play for him love him. They love him. They revere him. I mean, he is a guy with some like old school like morals and standards, and men making boys into men and all that. I get it. I get that. But he's also, just a complete misogynist, a complete narcissist, and somebody who would just absolutely run roughshod over people who are in his way or who he doesn't agree with.
Choke people, too.
Yeah, and then lie about it.
Yeah, it's on video.
Yeah, so. Yeah, and that guy's passed away, by the way. Neil Reed, I believe he's passed away.
He died?
Died young, sadly. But anyway, I digress. So Bobby Knight, so the players are having this big ceremony this week against Purdue, their arch rival. And the players decided that they were going to, throw it out there to the university and to Coach Knight that, hey, maybe this is the time to bring Coach Knight back. Quinn Buckner made it clear that it was the idea of the players to do it. He is definitely a father figure to all those guys. So anyway, it's all set. I'm watching it on ESPN, and they're ready to see will Bobby Knight come out. And the announcer said until he made his appearance, they still weren't positive he'd do it because Bobby Knight's the kind of guy who would just say, bleep this, I'm not doing this, and then just stay in the locker room. But he did come out, and
does he know he's there? I mean, I heard he's kind of maybe lost it.
Well, I was struck by how frail he looked. He was he looked 100 years old. I mean, he
got to be 80, right?
He could barely walk. Well, he was a television commentator not that long ago. Yeah. I mean, he was
maybe he's got health issues.
I mean, he did not look healthy. He was not moving well, and I assumed that he was kidding when Dick Vitale tried to hug him. Like Bobby Knight, like I'm again assuming he faked like he was angry. He pushed him away and pretended like he was going to punch him. And I'm like, I hope that was a joke. I mean, Dickie Vitale was like giving a standing ovation.
He's got a gin blossom.
Yeah, he's definitely got the W.C. Fields nose. That's not.
God, he does look old.
Yeah, and
he looks 90.
You've got to look at the video if you can find it sometime, just to see the little interaction between him and Dick Vitale. It was super awkward. I mean, beyond uncomfortable.
Are they friends? Are they?
Yes. Oh God, yes. Old friends.
Frenemies. Maybe?
But you never know with Bobby Knight. I mean, like people who think they're friends with Bobby Knight, they're people who Bobby Knight can't stand. Who and there's people who think that their relationship is fine with him, but they're like he'll hold on to some little tiny thing from like 20 years ago where the guy said, "Boy, Bobby Knight's team sure isn't playing defense tonight or something," and they'll just fester in his
for the rest of his life.
Little brain, and he'll hold a grudge forever. So I assume that he was joking around with Dick Vitale when he pushed him off him and like threatened to pop him one. Yeah. I mean, it was so awkward.
Well, listen, from what I've seen in the still pictures, I don't do Deadpools, but if I did, he's in my Deadpool.
It was sad, and I mean, it was. Let me rephrase that. It wasn't just sad. I'm not doing it justice because I mean, it was heartwarming in a sense. You could see he was getting emotional. I mean, Bobby Knight was just about tearing up. As a matter of fact, he may have teared up. He's hugging his players and waving to the crowd. He started a defense chant. His defense was kind of his trademark, his calling. And the crowd was giving him a standing ovation that went on for like 5 minutes probably. So, I mean,
and the fact that he did some really great things for that university, at that university, for him to have a homecoming like that could take place and be generally a positive experience. It was more of a good thing than I was making it out to be. I was just maybe it's just me getting fearful of my own mortality, but when I see people that I've watched growing up and I see them be so close to the end, it just gets me in touch with my own mortality. But seeing Bobby Knight as frail and confused as he appeared to be did not do me a lot of good. But
no, he didn't choke anybody, so it's all good.
No, there were no chokes. There were no chair throws. So it was all.
Did Indiana win?
Indiana did not win. They played horribly. This was right before the Gopher game. And also just mention Gopher hockey has been a great run lately. I got tickets to this past weekend thanks to my friend Steve Castellenda, old friend Castellenda's Pizza, now working at Remax. Got me a free pair for each game. And
Nice.
The Gophers played great on Friday. They won 4-1. They come out and played great for 2 periods on Saturday. They lead 2-1 going into the third. And I don't know what happened. In the third period, and it was such a crucial game. A win would have put them in first place by themselves in the Big Ten, would have set them up to be in good position in the pairwise. And they give up 3 goals in a third period to Michigan State and settle for a split. A really, really disappointing weekend. Now it's had they swept that weekend, splits at Notre Dame and Penn State coming up would have been good enough probably to keep them in first place in the Big Ten. That's no longer the case. They're going to have to go on the road and win some games. They're Notre Dame this weekend, Penn State the following weekend. And Penn State, that Pagula Ice Arena has been a house of horrors.
Do they still
for the
do
Gophers.
like when they go 2 games? They'll do Friday, Saturday. Is that how it works?
Yep, they still do that. Let's do the Friday, Saturday. For
Yeah.
some reason, the Saturday games have been played like at 5:00. I think it's just because they want to get it's basketball season and there's basketball games coming out, so they want to play these games early and get them out of the way, whether it's Big Ten Network or Fox or whatever. So games on Saturday seem to be at 5:00 a little more often than I would like, but I get it. I mean,
Can you drink at Mariucci now?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Has that been a while?
It's been a couple of years.
Can
I
you
think.
drink at Williams now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know why you couldn't. If you can drink at the football games and the hockey games, I'm sure you can drink at the basketball games. So yeah. They had canned beer, and I believe they have wine as well. So
Yeah, well, that's good.
there you go.
I mean, that kept me out of Mariucci for a lot of years. I was like, it's hockey. You got to have beer.
Well, and I remember
Can you imagine sitting in North Dakota?
The first time I walked into the Midwest Wireless Center, I don't know what it's called now.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
the arena in
I think it's
Mankato.
Verizon.
Yeah, it's maybe the Verizon Center. The first thing I saw was a bar with
Yeah.
the bottles are like
Yeah.
turned upside down and some sort of gadget. Where
Yeah.
it's almost like having alcohol on tap. I'm like, wow, they're serving up mixed drinks here at a college hockey
Yeah.
game. It was a unique experience.
It was
But
awesome.
that's going to do it for episode number 14. The taping date on this. What is it today? The 10th? Oh, it's my brother's birthday. How can I call my brother?
Monday, February 10th.
Monday, February 10th.
Year of our Lord
Monday,
2020.
February 10th. This is episode number 14. Thanks to everybody for their time. And look for us on location coming up in April as we approach the Masters. We might be out
Going to Hastings.
at Hastings Golf Club.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. So
Anybody else interested in sponsorship? Get a hold of us. Pretty easy to do.
Perfect. Thank you.
Peace out.